So at this point in life, I've been through many experiences, just like we've all been through many experiences. That's what life is just compiled experiences. But looking back, even though I've had so many of these tools in my life for years with yoga, with meditation, with natural health, and working with them, it's like, that's why I say when you buy this book, you're going to use it for the rest of your life. You'll come back to it and you'll add to it. There's a lot of things that you can jump off of from here, from this learning. But this tool in and of itself, I feel like we can never outgrow, because as humans, we have this inner dialogue all the time. We have this self-talk. And a lot of it is not positive. So after the culmination, the accumulation of these experiences, a lot of which I have worked through over and over and over again. I've done a lot of work. I'm still finding, which is not surprising actually, so I don't say that with surprise, but I'm finding that I still have not been kind to myself. I still have not been loving. And parts of me are still, not fully able to comfortably be me to the world. And so it was through my own awareness of that I said, you know what, I'm going to offer this course because I want to dive back in too. And how wonderful to do it with a group of, I think there's 20 and 21 of us, maybe 22. We will all get to meet each other in our Zoom. We're going to do live Zoom meetings so we can interact. And because not everybody has Facebook, and so I'm still going to create a Facebook group, so those of us that do have Facebook, we can interact on there. But for the live sessions, we're going to do Zoom. And two, because it can be interactive. Facebook Live, we can't be interactive. It's just me on a live video. So, and potentially meeting in person as this time goes by. So we'll be in touch. You'll know all this stuff as it unfolds. And I'm like a fly by the seat of my pants person. I've been teaching long enough that I feel comfortable doing that. So like I said, this week we're going to explore resistance. Where do we resist truly loving ourselves? Where do we resist that in our bodies? Look at this feather that I found yesterday. Perfect timing for this course. I'm not sure what kind of feather it is. Kind of looks like a hawk. I don't really know, but I loved it and it's in my book. So it's my bookmark. And you can start to feel this resistance by either looking into a mirror, or maybe you're watching this on your phone or a computer and you have the camera ability, so you can flip it around and look at yourself in the camera or in a mirror and just say, I love you to yourself. I love you. And just in that alone, you'll feel, so say I love you to yourself. And you'll feel inside where that feels weird. You're just like, this is super weird, saying I love you to myself. And then you have to think a little bit further, why is that so weird? Why is that weird to say I love you to yourself? So it's just a starting point to feel the resistance. And in that feeling, when you feel into it, I want you to notice where you feel it in your body. Where do you feel that little like, ugh, this is cringy? Do you feel it in your heart, your gut, your solar plexus, your navel? Where do you feel the resistance? And that's kind of our starting point, is feeling into that resistance and looking back. So I'm sure it's very easy for you to pick an experience that has impacted you greatly, right? And you might be able to see the silver lining, but at first it was very, very challenging. So you pick that experience, and if you think back, how did you treat that experience? How did you treat yourself through that experience? What were some of the inner workings of your mind around the feelings that you were having in that experience, throughout that experience, about other people, about yourself, right? So the deeper thoughts that we don't really tell anyone is what we're working with throughout this course. The things that we almost don't even notice are there, but they are there. They're right in the back. They're saying, this was not good enough, you didn't do this right, I don't know, be quiet about it, whatever those are some of the things that I want to share. So take notes as you listen to these videos, take notes and answer my questions, and so then we can share in our Facebook group and then on Zoom. So don't worry about if you don't have a Facebook group. I'm going to start the Facebook group and an email thread. So you can share in all different places with each other. Sharing. Please share, participate. It's very, very, very important to be able to witness each other through this experience and to recognize that we're never alone in these different things that we're doing. So it's okay that you have not loved yourself well enough. So that's another thing. Be like, oh, I haven't even loved myself that good for all these years. No, like, we're not doing that either. It's okay. Where you are is totally perfect. Where you are is completely perfect. You are perfect, whole, holy, and complete just as you are in this moment. And from there, so there's the and, not but. So, and we can work to find the resistance within us and begin to change that patterning around it. And Louise Hay does such a beautiful, beautiful job. And like I said before, this is not new per se. Maybe her words are put together in a different way than, you know, some yogic or Buddhist teachings or other philosophies. The way that she does put it together is very approachable. I love to learn in that way. Things that are super deep and approachable. It's my kind of learning here. So as we move into resistance, okay, life is really very simple. What we give out, we get back. Okay, and again, let's move away from the surface level of thinking. Let's move into ourselves and think about those. It's like the third set of things that you don't say. So there's the conversation, there's the thinking and the speaking, and then there's the things that you would never say. So we're working on that level of like the things that you wouldn't say. Those are the things that kind of plague us. Those are the thoughts that, and sometimes we do say them, you know, and think them, but there's that deeper, so we're working with that deeper set. It's like the third row. That is insidious. So those are the things that get into our cells and ultimately harm us, you know, and Louise Hay's correlation with that our thoughts affect our body, they affect our health. I think that if you're here right now listening to that, you would agree. You know, if you look at your emotions, your thoughts, definitely your actions affect your body, your mind, your health. Things manifest over time, especially when we continue with the same belief system that is harming us because we don't forgive ourselves, we don't love ourselves, and we don't trust ourselves, right? So we really want to tap into the resistance around that and begin to create this new relationship with ourselves. And in turn, like, this is one of the most beautiful things that you can give to yourself. Yes, and in our service to the world, because when you purify, this is kind of a purification process. When you begin to purify and become the radiant being that I know that you are, then like that is a gift to the world to show like, it's okay, I did this. I've been through all these things and here I am. And I love myself and I'm able to open my eyes and truly, truly love you, you know, loving others and being of service from this more genuine place because inside of you feels pure and genuine. And so these are some of the things that we're going to start to uncover over the next 10 weeks together. So I hope that you're very, very excited about this process and open to it. And also I just want to a little asterisk here. Honor the process. Honor the process. If you start to uncover things that are very, very triggering to you, if anything in this work is triggering to you, I encourage you, and you can reach out to me. I can help you find the support. But I encourage you, if you feel like you need a therapist, then I encourage you to work with a therapist simultaneously. I encourage you to explore other means of self-care, be it meditation, yoga, massage, Reiki, acupuncture, chiropractic. It's all for the higher good. So again, this is part of the process of loving yourself. Don't feel like you're ever stuck anywhere because you're like, wow, there is this thing inside of me that I didn't know was there, and I'm really having a hard time processing it in this, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I have, an extensive background in natural health and mind-body wellness, but that part is not in my wheelhouse, and I 100% encourage you to find the whole support structure that you need as you go through this process, if you feel that way. So whatever works, and again, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, it's all part of the process. Why are we here? We're humans living our lives. If you're here, it's because your heart is open. You're probably a sensitive person. You're someone that is open and maybe a little unsure as to how to live with purpose. Like, you feel this calling, you want to live with purpose, but you're not exactly sure how to make those connections. And a lot of it comes from within, and this process of learning to love yourself, right? And healing yourself with this love. Louise Hay will go as far, because of her personal experience, is that she cured her cancer with this process. So in her words, she believes that you're able to heal from basically anything, when you really allow the process to work. Healing and curing are two different things. So you can heal and not be cured. I just want to get things straight here. I'm not offering any miracles or magic, pills or anything like that. But it is healing. You can feel the softening. So for me at this point, working through this process yet again, I look at it right now as I'm untying these little tiny knots that I didn't even know were there throughout a lifetime, like seeing the subtleties of the way that I responded, that third row dialogue within myself. And I'm like at the point now where I'm like, oh, that's sad. I feel so sad a little bit for myself that I was that unkind. And it's simple things, just that third row dialogue of suppressing myself, like I didn't express, the confidence wasn't there to even think a certain way. I was very harsh in my thoughts through many processes that I went through with this idea that I should have acted differently than I did, instead of honoring myself where I was, and then learning the tools to maybe make different choices and changes, which is what this is, right? This is a tool for us to make different choices and to create change and transformation in our lives. Everything is slowly but surely. So if one part of this over 10 weeks really resonates with you, and you stick with that one part for the course of a year, and you start to notice the effects, just that slight change in the way that you think, that third row dialogue, and then that shifts forward into the thoughts that we have in relationship to others and just on the daily basis, and then into the way that we speak and the way we act. If there's one little shift, that's amazing. And this information is always here, so you just keep coming back to it over and over and over again. So resistance, I want you to feel in your body, pay attention, even with everything I've said so far, where that resistance is in your body. What is it about? Right. And this is a group, right? Confidentiality. We can share in this group. We're going to honor one another, where you can share that third row dialogue. Like, this is what I was really thinking and feeling about myself. So this is not a projection. We're not blaming. We're not doing any of that stuff on other people. This is all about ourselves in relationship to different scenarios. Sorry, just getting rid of the little pop-up. So she says, life is really very simple. What we give out, we get back. Okay? Every word matters, by the way. So even if what we give out, we get back. What comes up for you? You should be writing and writing and writing and writing. Doesn't have to be concise or perfect or anything like that. Grab a pen and paper, pause it, and write. Notice what you feel in your body, and we can talk about it. What does it say? What is the resistance? Life is really very simple. What we give out, we get back. What we think about ourselves becomes the truth for us. What we think about ourselves becomes the truth for us. She says, I believe that everyone, myself included, is responsible for everything in our lives, the best and the worst. Where do you feel the resistance in that sentence? And it's all okay. Like, you don't stay soft in your heart. Okay? We don't have to jump into, but this happened and like, your experiences are unique to you, of course, and they're shared. Okay, we have, like I said before, we've been through many, many, many things. Lots of pain, lots of grief, lots of joy and happiness as well. Okay, so we're just checking in with resistance and see what comes up in that third row dialogue. And even if it is tough, right? Like, even if it is kind of what you don't feel soft, write that down. What's happening? What's coming up for you in that? Okay? So I believe that everyone, myself included, is responsible for everything in our lives, the best and the worst. Every thought we think is creating our future. Every thought we think is creating our future. Each one of us creates our experiences by our thoughts and our feelings. The thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. The thoughts we think and the words we speak create our experiences. We create the situations and then give our power away by blaming the other person for our frustration. No person, no place, no thing has any power over us, for we are the only thinkers in it. When we create peace and harmony and balance in our minds, we will find it in our lives. I know there's so many buts here, but this happened, but. We all have the buts, and this is not to ignore or bypass anything that's happened to you. Not at all whatsoever. This is about embracing the and, okay? Like, this happened, this super hard, traumatic thing happened, and I can still find harmony and peace and love inside of myself. Therefore, it gets created in my life. So we're untying those knots. But where do you feel the resistance so far? Write it down, write it down, write it down. Plan to share some of it so we can see it's okay. It's okay that we have these deep, dark thoughts about ourselves and about our interactions in relationship to our experiences. What I believe, the gateway to wisdom and knowledge are always open. So the beautiful thing is that at any moment, when we really rest in this and settle into our creations, through our thoughts, words, and actions, that in any moment can be miraculous. It can be miraculous because we're like, whew, I love myself, and this was hard. Like, I love myself, and I'm sorry that I thought about myself that way in that experience, and I forgive myself. Which statements sound like you? Okay, there's two here. People are out to get me, or everyone is always helpful. And it could be a combination of both. Each one of those beliefs will create quite different experiences. What we believe about ourselves and about life becomes true for us. So here's a little shifteroo. I'm going to share an experience. So the deeper part of me right now in something that I'm experiencing wants to say, everyone is out to get me. Not everyone. This particular thing, it's just like, wow, this is relentless, right? People are unreliable. But I had a moment today, this morning, where thanks to my husband bringing it to my awareness that it was possible. Sometimes, get caught up in all of it, where I was reacting from my emotions and wanting to project those emotions, right? So I took a step back and I said, ooh, yeah, I probably need to breathe here, recognize that nobody, it's not about the person or people being unreliable. It's about me looking at myself to say, how can I rely on myself more in a place that is in harmony and in balance with my life? What adjustments do I need to make so that way I can enjoy this person more and accept them for who they are and accept myself. I accept myself for feeling like, for feeling upset. What comes up is betrayal and abandonment and some grief around that. Like, I can't rely on anyone. So feeling like I want to withdraw. But instead, everyone is always helpful. Everyone is always helpful. So I accept my feelings around that, right? Like I just said, those feelings of hurt and betrayal and grief and abandonment. I accept that. Like, that's how I feel. So I honor myself. I don't need to even beat myself up. Like, okay, I feel that way. Oh, it's okay. It's all right, Jen, that you feel that way. I honor that. And this is, one of my teachers, Saraswati, she had this thing where she would rub herself and say, oh, Saraswati, it's okay. Some of you maybe heard me tell that story. It's the sweetest thing to see someone, to see her do that, rub her leg and just be like, it's okay. Like, this, bring in this kindness to herself when she realizes she's being harsh. So that's kind of what that is. Like, oh, it's all right, Jen. Like, you are, you're not abandoned. You're not betrayed, because people are living their own lives and you feel that way, So it's okay. And it's helpful because now I see where I can become more reliant on myself, find more balance, and where I want to be more helpful and recognize that, when I commit to something, it's important to follow through. If someone's relying on me, it's important to follow through. So a little more ease there, instead of like, oh, I'm such a jerk for feeling this way. Like, and they're such assholes for being unreliable and hurting me again. They know what I've been through, right? Like, that's kind of what wants to rear its head, but I'm like, that's not true. Like, it's not true. There's a lot of love between us, and I can settle into that and say, okay, I feel hurt here. It's okay that I feel hurt, and it's okay that, it's their choice that they're unreliable, and I can soften up to that, which now has allowed me to step into a place where I can have a conversation. This is before I even had a conversation with anyone. Where I can have a conversation and say, this is what's going on for me, and I love you, and like, so I want to work on this together to find a place of balance and the whole thing, right? Diffuse. I hope you can feel that, right? There's like, it just diffuses everything to be like, okay, because I was relying on this person, I had an expectation, and that expectation was not carried out. And so it created this reaction in me. And then I feel bad about the reaction. I take a moment to figure out where to react from, but also open my heart. How can I bring self-love in here? I don't need to, have negative thoughts around how I'm reacting. I just need to accept it. It's okay that I'm feeling this way. I love myself no matter what. I love myself. And I would like to take that a step further and extend my love, because they are my friends, to extend that love to my friends and settle in and not speak from my emotional self. Embrace my emotions, accept them, love myself, allow, and be a little more pragmatic in my approach to sharing this, because that reaction is mine, it's not theirs, and it was not their intention. So versus people are out to get me, or everyone is always helpful. Where are you in that? And I'm sure it varies, per situation, per person. So each one of these beliefs will create a quite different experience. What we believe with ourselves and about life becomes true for us. Where is the resistance? Where do you feel the resistance? Again, just keep that, tap into it for the next few days until you get the next video. Notice where you resist your heart. Where do you start to shut down and close up? Where is that resistance? The universe totally supports us in every thought we choose to think and believe. And it's not the type of support that you might think. It's just naturally, it's natural laws. So it's not a big fuzzy universe like hugging us. It's just natural laws. And we are creative, we are energy. So everything is constantly in motion all the time, right? And so we have this wonderful choice of how we want to think, how we want to speak, and how we want to act. So all that creates a lot of our experiences, or how we respond to experiences, how we see experiences. Put another way, our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe, okay? And this is, this goes deeper. We're peeling back layers of things that were pressed on us throughout our childhood and socially, and all these different ways that we created a belief system. A lot of it is not even ours. So, hey, let's create a new belief system now. Woohoo, a new beginning. We can start right now creating a new belief system that supports loving ourselves and others. Put another way, our subconscious mind accepts whatever we choose to believe. They both mean that what I believe about myself and about life becomes true for me. What you choose to think about yourself and life becomes true for you. And we have unlimited choices about what we can think. When we know this, then it makes sense to choose everyone is always helpful rather than people are out to get me. Excuse me. Right? When we know this, like we have this choice, like we have a choice to have a good day every day. We might not feel good. We might not have the most energy we've ever had. We might be going through hard times, but we can still also that and. So we can have all that and say, you know what? I'm going to open my eyes a little wider today. I'm going to look at people that I interact with. I'm going to enjoy nature that is constantly flowing around me. And I'm going to open up to a different scenario. So Deepak Chopra talks about it as choosing the miracle. You can choose the misery or you can choose the miracle. Again, we're not ignoring anything. This is not bypassing. This is circular learning. Everything exists in the same circle. And then we make choices around that, right? So it can all exist in this container. When we allow it to all exist, then we live a full life. And some days you do cry more. And we love ourselves for crying. We don't beat ourselves up for like, I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know why I feel this way. It's just like, I'm upset today. Like I'm feeling, you don't have to say it out loud, but you just like, it's okay. We don't even have to have a story as to why we're emotional or crying. We can just support ourselves. And, you know, at the end of it, when we release, smile. Instead of being like, oh, I've been so sad. And we might be like, whew, that was a great release. I feel a lot better now. Maybe we journal, you know, like embracing all of it simultaneously is where we want to be. And loving ourselves through all of it. We don't always need to question everything. You know, I don't know why I feel this way. It's not normal, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, if it's healthier, the healthiest choices that you can make, obviously. And this is where you create the support system of help around discovering yourself more. The universal power never judges or criticizes. It's natural law, right? So there's no judgment one way or another. It's just the creation of this wheel of choices and cause and effect. It only accepts us at our own value, okay? Then it reflects our beliefs in our lives. If I want to believe that life is lonely and that nobody loves me, then that is what I will find in my world. Do you have resistance to that? Feel that sentence. I'll read it again. It only accepts us at our own value. What's your value? Right? And also, like, reduce the ego. We don't have to be like, I am worthy of everything and like, let's leave everyone behind. That's not where we are either. But just like, I am a valuable person. I am a valuable member of this earth. And I love myself. I love my space here and the way that I contribute. Right? See the difference of like that power of being like, I deserve, right? You do deserve everything. No, you don't even deserve, it's just natural. Like, you can have everything. You don't deserve it because of anything. You just are perfect, whole, holy, and complete all the time. So then it reflects our belief in our lives. If I want to believe that life is lonely and that nobody loves me, then that is what I will find in my world. However, if I am willing to release that belief and affirm for myself that love is everywhere, and I am loving and lovable, and to hold on to that new affirmation and to repeat it often, then it will become true for me. Now loving people will come into my life. The people already in my life will become more loving to me, and I will find myself easily expressing love to others. Now, because we've created a belief system that's not supportive of self-love, most likely, she says, repeat it often, right? I am loving and lovable. I am loving and lovable. I am loving and lovable. Let that be your mantra. I am loving and lovable. And I love. I'm easy to express love to others. From this beautiful, grounded place, your expression unfolds as we create our new belief system. So you can start to, like, what is your belief system? You'll start to discover it as we move through the course. And then in another column, or in a circle, what is the belief system that you would like to adopt for yourself? Most of us have foolish ideas about who we are and many, many rigid rules about how life ought to be lived. This is not to condemn us, for each of us is doing the very best we can at this very moment. If we knew better, if we had more understanding and awareness, then we would do it differently. Please don't put yourself down for being where you are. The very fact that you have found this book and have discovered me means that you are ready to make a new positive change in your life. Acknowledge yourself for this. So some of the limiting beliefs, right? Men don't cry, women can't handle money. What limiting ideas to live with? We don't need to live with those anymore. Going a little deeper, and I'm going to leave you off here. So again, resistance. That's the title of this session. So we're checking in, feeling into our resistance around our belief system, loving ourselves, where we have not been kind to ourselves, get into those, the deep, remember the third row that we don't talk about very often. It's the way we learn. So when we are very little, we learn how to feel about ourselves and about life by the reactions of the adults around us. It is the way we learn what to think about ourselves and about our world. Now, if you lived with people who were very unhappy, frightened, guilty, or angry, then you learned a lot of negative things about yourself and about your world. I never do anything right. It's my fault. If I get angry, I'm a bad person. Beliefs like this create a frustrating life. And those are the beliefs that they're that third row, right? In some form saying I never do anything right. It's my fault. If I get angry, I'm a bad person. When we grow up, we have a tendency to recreate the emotional environment of our early home life. This is not good or bad, right or wrong. So please, this is not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what we know inside as home, quote unquote home. We also tend to recreate in our personal relationships the relationship we had with our mothers or with our fathers or what they had between them. Think about how often you had a lover or a boss who was just like your mother or father. We also treat ourselves the way our parents treated us. We scold and punish ourselves in the same way. We can almost hear the words when you listen. When we also love and encourage ourselves in the same way. If we were loved and encouraged as children, you never do anything right, it's all your fault. How often have you said this to yourself? You never do anything right, it's all your fault. Or, you are wonderful, I love you. How often do you tell yourself this? You are wonderful and I love you. You are wonderful and I love you. Imagine if we were raised with that belief system, the choices, how they would have been different. However, I would not blame our parents for this, right? So like I said before, this is not a blaming scenario. We are all victims of victims of victims of victims of victims. I mean, it just goes back and back and back. That's why it's beautiful that you're here, because you're wanting to break that cycle, right? We are all victims of victims, and so on. And they could not possibly have taught us anything they did not know. If your mother did not know how to love herself, or your father did not know how to love himself, then it would be impossible for them to teach you how to love yourself. They were doing the best they could with what they had been taught as children. If you want to understand your parents more, get them to talk about their own childhood. And if you listen with compassion, you will learn where their fears and rigid patterns come from. Those people who did all the stuff to you, right? The people that did all the stuff to you were just as frightened and scared as you. Where do you feel the resistance in that one? I know that's a tough one. Okay, the people who did all the stuff to you, in quotes, were just as frightened and scared as you are. It does not dismiss the behavior. At all, like, again, no bypassing here whatsoever. It does not dismiss their behavior. It's just a way to think about things. And where do you feel the resistance there? So that's what I want to leave with is, obviously, where do you feel the resistance in all that has been discussed in this time together? And what are, if you had to start to create your belief system, what is your belief system and what do you want it to be? And it's going to shift. This is a flexible system that we're creating here as you unfold and create and make new patterns and choices and thoughts and words and actions. So write. And in the email that you got this video in, you'll have instructions on how to join the Facebook group where I'll post this video as well. And if it's not in this email, it will be in one soon, the live dates for us to get together on Zoom and have a discussion. And our email thread. So you can reply in an email thread if I ask questions or you want to share something. I really encourage lots and lots and lots of sharing in this group so we can witness each other and really remember that we're all in this together. And I really would love to set a date for an in-person meeting with all of us. I think that could be very, very powerful to work through some of this together. So I'm going to leave you there. And I'm very grateful for you showing up for this for yourself and carving out time each week to dive into this work, because it really does heal your life. And being on that path of that true healing, true loving, self-love, and radiance, becoming the radiant being that you are, is, like I said earlier, one of the most beautiful gifts that you can give to yourself and the world. So thank you so much for joining in, and please always feel free to send me an email. You can send me a text that you can reply to the emails. My phone number is 603-952-9222. With things that come up, but I really encourage you mostly to share with the group. So anything that you might send to me privately would most likely be super beneficial for everyone else as well. So be courageous, be brave. Let's take these steps together. And I would love to hear about your resistance. So we'll meet up in the Facebook group or the email thread. Maybe if you post something in the Facebook group, you also email it for those people that are not on Facebook. But however it unfolds will be perfect, and I trust the process, and I trust you. Until next time, namaste.